Hi there. I'm up on the roof because I'm going to check out a roof leak. But it's not really a roof leak. There's been a historical leak in one of the classrooms for as long as I've been here, and nobody's ever really done anything about it, myself included, because every time I've gone to look, like every once in a while we'll get a little bit of staining on the ceiling tile, and then it stops, and we don't know where it comes from. I've checked around, and while I can see where in the past the gas line, water has dripped off of that, you can tell by the fact that it's rusty. Finding an active leak, I haven't been able to find one until today. Somebody came from the classroom to get me because there was a bit of a blister forming on the bottom of the ceiling tile, and I'm like, oh great, it's actually happening right now. I can see where it's coming from. Let me show you. It's coming from this cable. The water's traveling down this cable, which just happens to be laying on the back of the ceiling tile.
Buckle up for safety as I give you a day in the life of facilities maintenance.
Look at this pure, untouched snow. I noticed something else here up on the roof, which is actually interesting, at least to me anyway. You see these lines? There's a line, an indent line in the snow. There's another one there. There's a couple more out there. You can kind of see a grid pattern here of lines. Any guesses as to what those are? Every one of those lines is an imperfection or a gap in the styrofoam insulation. On the metal Q deck, there is about 5 inches of styrofoam, and then the rubber membrane on top of that. And so wherever you're seeing one of these little indentation lines, that's where warm air is coming up through the insulation, and the snow is melting just a little bit faster in those areas. Anyways, let me show you where this water is coming from, because now I know. It is actually coming from 1 foot to the north of the gas line. And I'm in that classroom over there. This is the gas line right here. And 1 foot over is where the that water was dripping down the cable. Where's that little cable originating from? You know what? It is coming. Yeah, I know what that cable is. That's the cable going from the heating unit to the thermostat. I need a tool. Okay, between my impact driver with a nut driver on the end of it, a flat bladed screwdriver, some sealant, and a knife, these should be all the tools I need to fix this issue.
As far as I'm concerned, that's America's ass.
I found it. It's kind of a tricky one. So I removed this panel on the side here first, and I couldn't see anything down here. I was thinking that I'm going to see a wire going down through this deck here, but that's not what it's doing. You see this case right here? It runs up here and follows this curve. It runs along the underside of this right here. I don't know if you can see this. This is that case coming here. You see the water hanging off of there? It's entering the case right there and traveling all the way down into the classroom. So the leak isn't even happening at roof level. It's originating from way up here. I think I'm gonna have to cut this zip tie to release this, to expose the end of this, so I can take a look at that and possibly like pack it with sealant. But yeah, it is my thermostat wire. Starts right here, runs underneath there and into that jacket. So I can put this back together and then address the issue. So I'll do that quickly, and then we'll pick it up from there. All right, 3 screws with 1 panel with 3 screw holes. That's a good sign. Everything's back together. So I'm gonna clip this and pull this cable out of here and see if I can seal up the end of that.
It's somewhat ironic that there is sealant at the hole in the lid where the zip tie is running through to prevent water from getting to the outside of the casing and running down the outside of the casing to the boot at the roof. But there was nothing done at the end of the casing opening itself.
So there's the culprit right there. Water is just running down the end of this and making its way all the way into the classroom by following this line right here. I should be able to push this down and through a little bit more to give myself a little bit more to work with at this end. There we go. Oh, look at that. Look at the water pouring out of this.
There isn't even any old sealant in the end of this casing, which pretty much tells me that it's been like this since day one when the school was first built.
So when I was a building inspector, one of the things that I used to look for was what we called the drip loop. And what that is a low point in a cable that water can collect at and then just drip off and not travel down the rest of that cable. There's nothing like that here. So I'm gonna see if I can incorporate something like that before putting everything back together. I might not be able to, based on the location and proximity of everything and the length of the cable and whatnot, but if I can, I will. Okay, I grabbed a different product here, just a silicone that's good for exterior, that's rain ready in 30 minutes, 100% waterproof, shrink and crack proof. This will work. The other product was for metal roof, and that's not what I'm working with here. And I should be able to make my drip loop right here. I've pulled as much of the line through as I can. There's still enough slack here at this end, so Rob's not going to get upset about that. And yeah, we're going to stop this leak. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to pack silicone into the end of this. Then I'm going to zip tie this back up here. But you see that little loopage I've got going on there? That creates a low spot there. You can already see a water drop building. Water can drip off of that, as opposed to running down the end of this. Essentially, when I'm done, it's going to be doubly protected.
I think it's important to point out here too that sealant can never ever be your primary source of your seal. There has to be a physical seal. In some cases it's flashing. In this case it's the drip loop itself. Water will never be able to run down the wire into this casing ever again. The sealant is just there to clean things up a bit and seal off the end of the casing.
Okay, it may look a little sloppy right now, but let me show you and explain to you why this is 100% better than it was before. All those drops are coming off the back side of the wire. Previously, when this was zip tied up tight underneath the lip here, all the water running down this wire was running into this casing and traveling down into the building. So I say doubly protected now because I've got the end of this sealed, so nothing can get in here. But because I have this looser and I've created more slack in the line, I'm able to create a low point here, so any water, because I can't stop this water from running down the cable, that will be futile. So I gotta let it run, but now I have to manage it, and it will drip off that cable for the rest of the existence of this unit here and never go back into the building. So while that may look ugly, it is now 100% effective and will prevent that water from leaking into the building. All right, that's it. Thanks for watching. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and we'll see you next time.